Welcome back to TearRing Saga. Last time, we defeated Marhen's pirates once and for all by recruiting him. That was weird. But now we're going to be heading out to the mainland of Liberia, to Marl Harbour first. But Runin already passed by this area, so how are things going to be now, and what kind of battles does Holmes have to fight here? Well, firstly, here's an event that only happens if you brought Vega to Holmes's party. Now, I believe Altair was not the person's name in the Japanese version. They just changed it to match up with the naming of Vega, who I just realized is a man with, I think, the name of a female figure from mythology, and Krishna is a woman who's named after a male Hindu god, so that's interesting. Referring to her as just a girl, though, there's a lot of conversations that imply Vega is actually significantly, well, not significantly, but he's probably older than a lot of the other people in the army. Considering that he's been an assassin for a long time, that would make sense. I mean, he doesn't look that old, but with these comments, the fact that Krishna seemed to be very young when he killed her lover. You know, that's actually totally true. Sad as it is. And she even knows it. Like, she knows that she sucks in terms of combat ability. So, if she wants to see him dead, but she knows that she can't do it herself, what's she gonna do? Oh yeah, and early translations called her Krishinu, which is kind of dumb. Zooming all the way over to Blard. Well, we at least have vague connections to this place, thanks to Atrom. But it seems like Renee has connections to this guy, and yes, this is the Lord Lionheart we've been hearing about before. Also, impressive beard there. Meriel. Well, Meriel is with Runin's party, so she's gonna have issues there for a while. But, I mean, she currently has greater issues to worry about. Not drowning. Oh, you kind of have prophetic powers there. I mean, the good news is that she was lucky enough to get captured by the worst pirate I've ever heard of, but the bad news is that that pirate being terrible resulted in her falling into the ocean. I mean, at least he's not saying having you around would just be a nuisance because you're useless. Yeah, you might have recognized that armor from earlier Pegasus Knights like Sasha and Martel. And being a Pegasus Knight means that despite being only 15, she is one of the most broken characters in this game. Well, I mean, not really, but like, she is one of the most broken classes in this game, at least. Little things, you know, little things like fighting in a war. I still wish that, like, Roy being a commander at only 15 was elaborated on a bit more. Like, Roy actually has some alright supports, but he just, yeah, if there's ever an FE6 remake, I wish that they do Roy more justice, because he has a lot of potential. Maybe have him promote after the Western Isles arc as well, that would definitely help him. So yeah, we heard a lot of plot stuff there, but let's move on to even more plot stuff. Haven't seen this guy before. He kind of looks like what would happen if an Abel archetype got older and let himself go a bit. That's really insulting, but it's the first thing that came into my head. And I'm sure if this fails, some other members of our army could have got us in here. Wow, okay, that's a pretty harsh title. But yeah, it is pretty heavily implied that Holmes is, not exactly the most legitimate of offspring. Also, leaving his father to die, well, I mean, his father's a complete jerk, so... yeah, Holmes is great. And that's a pretty sick burn there. Well, I mean, you had help from Tia as well. I almost called her Tita, but that's someone else. Oh, so there could be a certain... I was about to say something, but that's a really big spoiler for Radiant Dawn, and it's one of the few Radiant Dawn spoilers that's not really public knowledge, so I'm not going to say who that reminds me of, but it does remind me of someone. Yeah, you seem to think pretty highly of Runan right now. Maritime trade partner, though, just reminds me of trade ships in Age of Empires 2. Historia is not down, even though we never see Ronald again. Yeah, Richard is pretty... he lives up to his name, as always. That's almost sounding like Tales of the Abyss now that I think about it. That reminds me so much of Shakespeare. So much debate over what he did and didn't write in his plays. Or, you know, she could just be wearing that golden armor to fit with the prophecy and boost morale. Or maybe Richard knows about that poem, and he gave her that armor just to, you know, again, boost morale. Richard is an interesting character, though. Although the way that Holmes is describing him here reminds me a little bit of Eric of Laos, but that's not the one, have I actually mentioned this before? That some people think this game is really similar to Fire Emblem 7, and I completely disagree. There's only one similarity, like major similarity I can find in the story, and that doesn't come until the very end. Oh, okay, that kind of thing. Well, you know how those people tend to end up. But we know from seeing Ronald's monologue that Tia might be a bit more savvy than she seems. And maybe she's actually the one who's playing Richard. Loves, okay then. We didn't know this before. Yeah, Holmes just insulted her fiancé to her face. Zeno, you have Sasha in the army. That's another bit of gameplay and story segregation, I guess. Arse. That's a funny word. So, this is a scene that only plays if you have Zeno on Holmes' route. So, it's possible that Zeno could have some relation to the Leiden royal family, maybe. I mean, he never knew who his parents were. And he was abandoned for some reason, and leaders had a lot of issues in infighting. It's not implausible that, maybe he got lost or abandoned that way. And I'm sure Catri's gonna hate being split up from her father after they were reunited finally. But basically, we've already reunited one person with their parents. Although Catri still has her birth parents that she wants to find. And we've got some possible lead on Zeno, maybe. It's just very vague. It's just the fact that he looks somewhat similar to Tia. Unfortunately, Atrom's search for his missing family has already gone really badly. But we are at least making some progress on our checklist of finding people's missing family. Seems to be a common theme with, a lot of this game, actually. And I still, for the life of me, can't fully remember the exact familial connection between Lionheart and the Pegasus, and, like, Frau, and, like, why he's their uncle, and how that all lines up. I think I remember who their mother is, but I'm not actually sure who their father is off the top of my head. I'll need to look that up later. But for now, we are here, and we don't seem to be able to access a shop at Marl Palace. Our next destination is the Sene Coast, which is where Runan fought his Chapter 9. Hopefully, there's no more Scottish cultists here. And here is the follow-up event to that Vega one. Again, the only requirement is that Krishna is alive and Vega is in Holmes' party, I'm pretty sure. And I think I actually missed this event on my first playthrough because I put Vega on Runan's party just because I wanted, like, I thought, oh, I already have Shigen on Holmes' party, I don't need Vega over here. So, say let's hear it, and this doesn't have an immediate payoff, but it's going to pay off right before the next chapter. I'm so sorry, but this line just makes me think of a line from Xenoblade Chronicles 1 that's been really memed, because the guy who says it is the voice actor of Daddy Pig from Peppa Pig, and that's just kind of amazing. Yeah, it does seem like he's turned over a new leaf since the Assassin days. killing a lover just makes me think of, I'm sorry, I know it's serious and a sad moment, but it just makes me think of that line from My Immortal with, Enobi, thou hast failed me, now I shall kill thou, and thou lover Draco. It's just one of those things that make me think that might be, like, I don't believe a lot of the evidence that's been presented that it's a troll fic, but at the same time, I think it's plausible because I don't know why anybody would have Voldemort speak in thou and thy language. It's like, unless they were that was their idea of making him sound old, I don't know. I mean, I know that he's, like, sort of immortal, but I don't think he's actually that old. I forget exactly how old Voldemort is, but... Okay, that's a complete tangent for this conversation. And, seducing. Yeah. Seducing people. Yes, that's always the thing with these kinds of plots. It's never the fact that somebody, killed them directly that's the issue. It's the fact that they come back later and they pity them for it. It is kind of an awkward thing, though, to agree to, because he's essentially just agreed to kill somebody in our own army. The next time we're both on the battlefield, and he's saying, I want you to be there, this is a hint that you need to deploy Shigen, Vega, and Krishna in the next chapter. And even though he says the next time we're on the battlefield, which makes you think that you could do it at any time, it's specifically Chapter 14. Once you're past Chapter 14, you have lost your opportunity to do this event. And as bad as it sounds, you actually do want to do this because it does give some good bonuses. Well, she looks, unique. I do like how you're getting a few comments from other characters in the army here. Wow, okay. They're just like, if this was a D&D campaign, it would be, somebody please roll an intimidation check with advantage. So, this is our call to adventure for Holmes' next map. Remember I said before that Oculus was a wretched hive of scum and villainy and it was even worse than Sine? We're about to find out why. Oh, they still use Mars in this universe. I think it's like Trails in the Sky is one of the few games that actually bothers to come up with a fictional measuring system, even though they're mostly equivalent to meters. But he had better things to do. Apparently. I mean, it's the kind of thing that he definitely would have helped out with if they'd managed to meet up, but it seems like she wasn't able to catch him in time. Mr. Pirate Sir, that is Holmes' name now. Better than Mr. Priest, at least. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Well, of course Katri is saying yes to helping them. I like that Samson is weighing in, though. Because, like, Samson hasn't really had many events up until this point. We don't even have a name for her, which is weird because she has a semi-unique portrait. That is Orcus Village, our next destination, and we're going to be fighting an interesting ragtag army comprised of a bunch of bandits, but also some deserting soldiers from all factions of the war, which means there'll be a variety of different enemy types. I kind of already commented on that, as long as some things like Killing Edges and Armor Slayers in play, along with an Armor Knight. See, Holmes does fight a few armored enemies. They're pretty rare, but he still does. And this generic sergeant is actually the boss of this map, which is kind of weird, but oh well. So here, we can't access the secret shop or anything. I'm back in Welt now, before we move on, because between the end of Chapter 13 and the beginning of Chapter 15 is when you need to do the next part of the Latina events. For this one, you need to go back to Verge, and Kreis needs to have an elixir in his inventory. Now, this can get confusing because most guides go by the early fan translation where this was called Healing Drop, so they'll probably say Healing Drop. The item that early guides call Elixir is actually called Azov in this version, so again, confusing, but it's this item here that you need. It looks like a drop of water. It should be activating. Why isn't it activating? What? Okay. That's really bizarre. So, I think you have to have triggered these scenes at Port Mal in order for this to work. I'm going from an earlier save state. Okay, so I haven't screwed this up. That's good to know, but yeah, it looks like it's actually not the end of Chapter 13. You actually have to see the scenes with Richard at Port Mal first. Yeah, sorry if I'm not talking much here, but I was just panicking over potentially screwing up this event. Yes, this is the elixir. You don't need the miracle charm just yet, that's for later. Yeah, I wonder if that works. Then again, it's not like a panacea, it's not like a cure-all, it just heals, wounds. But I mean, at least it was something. And hey, it's a gift. Some people have also mentioned that her name might have been supposed to be Retina. Apparently the fan translator did realize that, but he decided not to go that route because it would have been stupid. So that's part 2 of the event done, and now back to the mainland. I think I'm just gonna head out into the next chapter, Orcus Village, or Orcus Village, or Ox. I've heard it spelled like O-C-K-S or something. Holmes the Hero. This chapter is also one that was directly translated from its Japanese title. But it is kind of interesting. We're just incidentally just passing through, and as you can see, there's an arena on this map. And that's actually why I brought Tom to Holmes' party in my first playthrough. We've got a fighter with an axe there, a Myrmidon starting out there, a few thieves. There's a lot of droppable items in this chapter too, a lot of money bags that you can get, as well as a whole lot of houses for you to visit for some very good items. And in particular, there's one house in this map that is very, very important. So... okay, part of me wants to try using him here and just see if I can get him to kill something. Like, if I, for example, managed to kill the boss with him, I would get, Halberd and Hammer. I don't know if those are that great, but, Thunder. Is there any, like, good... I'm not really sure how much good things there are to steal here, actually. But we have some of these, like, Bowmen and, Spearmen here. I wonder if I could steal that Great Lance. So, for the sake of stuff, I'm going to put this trio up the top, just to make sure they're all deployed, because you need them. And speaking of people that you might need, Barts. Barts might want to go in this map. And I also kind of want Alicia just for her one rounding potential. I might kick out Christ for a little bit. This does mean that I'm using mostly on-foot units, but I mean, it should be alright. Also, I have actually swapped around some items off camera. Saga has the Occult booked because she's going to be hitting level 20 soon. Martel has the Shield Blade to make her a little bit tankier. And I gave the second, I believe, I have the second Levin Sword still in the Convoy because Martel can't use it. Whoops, I just accidentally pressed battle. I'm probably alright in terms of deployment though, so yeah. Should be fine. I'm actually kind of liking where Alicia ended up. Yes, Ugly Guys. That's their army name now. The Ugly Guys. So yes, your name is officially Little Lady now. That's the best name we have for you, because we just really don't know who you are. Even though she looks really important, she's actually not. And here we go. Well, at least he recognizes that Shigen's good enough to challenge him. Oh yeah, and I also love how Shigen recognizes that he can just cheat and just revive himself, but that obviously wouldn't go well. Keeping things even in terms of weapons. But she also has to turn around, so she has deniability. Vega gets the boss music once again. Okay, you were totally holding back with those critical hits there. Yes, if you couldn't already tell, this is scripted. So don't worry if one of them is promoted and the other isn't or anything. Yeah, happens to be his son. Seeing both of their skills here, although Sol didn't restore HP there. Wait, Holmes, you're totally fine with your first mate potentially dying, and us losing Vega, who's also amazingly strong? Although, yeah, it is true that she's the one who started this, so she really does need to take responsibility for it. Or maybe Holmes is just letting her witness this to teach her a lesson. Yes, he was! Holmes actually can be surprisingly wise sometimes. A lot of his kind of jerkishness and him playing around is sort of a front. Well, yeah, Shigen's the more obedient one here. And from that we cut to... I'm sure people were wondering when we finally get to continue this subplot. And you could probably already tell by the fact that I put Bart's in the team for this.